Hey, I'm Ron Richards from iFanboy, and I'm here with Robert Kirkman at Image Expo. How you doing, Robert?
Hey, what's up? Doing great. Having a good time here in Oaktown.
In Oakland.
What? I don't know.
So we're here at the 20th anniversary of Image Comics and Image Expo. How does it feel to be at this sort of event? Did you ever think this event would have happened?
I'm sorry, I have to stop you right now. So I'm contractually obligated by AMC to talk about all of the things that are going on at AMC right now. And what we've got going on right now, aside from the second half of the second season of The Walking Dead, is AMC's Comic Book Men, the Kevin Smith show about comic book people doing comic book stuff, comic books, and selling
on TV.
On TV. It's a good show, right? Is it good? You like it?
Yeah, it's
I'm just kidding. I don't watch that show. So anyway, what were you asking me?
So we're here at Image Expo. Did you ever think this sort of event would ever come together with 20 years into Image Comics, that there'd be a whole con around Image Comics?
Of course.
Yeah?
Of course I did. When I was in my underwear, sitting in my room at 13, reading the first issue of Savage Dragon, I was like, I can't wait to go to Image Expo. No, I had no idea. No, I mean it's it's a cool thing. We're 20th anniversary. It's good to come out and beat your chest a little, and like it's awesome for all those guys. I mean, I'm the latecomer. Right. So it's kind of awesome for me, but like not really. But those guys did an amazing thing, and you can't discount that. I think that a lot of people said, a bunch of artists going to form a company, that's going to be over in like 6 months. And the fact that it's not only lasted for 20 years, but it is as strong and vibrant as it's ever been right now. The fact that Image is growing as a company and selling more and more comics in a time where the industry is flat, or the opposite of flat, which is right. It's not the opposite of flat. I'm sounding like an idiot right now. I apologize for that. But a lot of people are selling less and less comics and struggling right now. But Image is thriving, and I think it's because of the new blood that's been able to come in. And it's an amazing company that was created by a bunch of amazing dudes. And fuck yeah, Image Expo.
Well, that's why I think it's interesting, because if you look at 92 to 2012, I mean, like, Creator Owned is like one of the hottest topics right now, 20 years later. And it's gone in, like 10 years ago, Creator Owned wasn't as big of a deal. But why do you think it's come back now?
I mean, I don't know that it. Yeah, I
Not
guess
that it's come back, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, I think that people are bored. I think that the corporate comic companies. You guys know who they are. I think that people are starting to get a little bored with that kind of stuff, and I think that they're looking for new ideas. And I think that if those companies were offering new ideas and doing new things, I think that people would be sticking around. But I think that their numbers show that people are looking for something different, and something different is creator owned. I think it's new concepts, it's new ideas, it's people writing without a safety net, and writing without a corporate structure, and writing without limitations. And I think that's a really cool thing that is really appealing to comic fans as a whole right now. Yeah. And I think that's awesome.
So, but in terms of like your manifesto, like you kind of made waves when you joined Image and talked about how Creator Owned, and a lot of
what was that? I don't know what you're talking about.
But some of the detractors of that said that that works for somebody like you who's got a following already and that sort of thing. And we've seen Brubaker come to Image and he's bringing his following, and Brian Vaughan coming to Image. But does it still work for the up and coming creator as well? Do you think?
Well, I mean, look, a lot of people try to misconstrue my message. I mean, my message was twofold. It was about up and coming creators and how it was okay to work for corporate comics, but the main message was don't stay. Yeah. No one has retired from Marvel and DC. To steal a quote from Todd McFarlane, they do not give you a gold watch. They do not care about you. They care about the next guy who is now making money for them. That is what they do, and there's nothing wrong with that. They're a corporation. That's what they do. But it's so naive to think that you can work there for 15 and 20 years and leave with more than what you went in with. That's just not what happens. Your popularity fades, and then they go, hey, that was nice, please go away. And so the idea is to find that point, that time where you are a viable creator that has a strong fan base and can make that leap. So yeah, it is hard for new creators to come into the industry and do a new book. You've got guys like Joe Keating doing a new book called Hell Yeah. He's also standing behind the camera right now because you couldn't afford a real cameraman. I don't really
Times
understand.
Are tough.
For everyone but Image. But yeah, and you know that is a certain that's a certain point in his career, and he's doing that book, and it's certainly not selling as much as Saga, but you know he's doing it, and it's going to be great, and that's very fulfilling for him. And if he wants to do Marvel and DC work, then he should, and you know that's a fun thing to do. Writing Spider-Man is an absolute blast, and I enjoyed doing it, but after you've been doing it for a few years and people seem to like your work and they know who you are, to continue to do that, unless you're just absolutely addicted to doing that, is foolish, you know, because there is no future in it. There are hundreds of creators. You could make a list of people who are school teachers and copywriters and, you know, ad executives and movie producers that used to work in comics and don't anymore because they just weren't getting jobs and they had to move on. That's what happens to people who work in corporate comics. So yeah, I mean, my message still stands. I still stand by it. The detractors, I think, over the course of the years since I made that statement, I think have pretty much been proven wrong across the board, I'm happy to say. So, you know, Brian Bendis can suck it.
Well, I mean, but it's interesting because
Is he still doing Avengers?
He's winding down. Actually.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah. But it's interesting because it's kind of like with corporate companies, like nothing ever, not corporate, but like Marvel and DC, like those characters are owned by companies.
Corporate.
I know, but it feels like I don't want to be like I don't want to. Yeah, they are corporations, but like there's a negative.
I know.
But
there's a reason for that.
But nothing ever changes there. Like that's why I think a lot of fans are getting fatigued in that regard because they're realizing that while there's been some exciting stories over the years, you know, 5 years after reading, nothing changes.
I bet you someone dies at the end of Avengers versus X-Men, and I bet you they come back a month later. I mean, what do you want to put? You want to put money on this? Right. Why don't we do a bet right now? Or do you want to?
Sure, yeah.
I tell you what, because I think you might agree with me. I don't know, but I don't want to trade. I will give you $100 if that happens, and if it doesn't happen, I will give you $100.
All right. Works for me. No, it's gonna happen.
I mean, it's so predictable.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. Like, I just feel like they could try harder because I love those books, and now I'm just being a dick, and I apologize for that. But whatever.
Well, the segue I'm making is that, you know, within your books, you've always said that you could do whatever you want, and so now, you know, you've got Walking Dead and Invincible both approaching that 100-issue mark. Do you feel that, like, with longevity, do you think it's hard to still bring in the same ideas, or do you find yourself knowing I already did this, or how do you fight that kind of complacency as a creator?
Well, I mean, you know, being the guy that originated Invincible and Walking Dead and being the guy that's written those 100 issues, I mean, I think it's easier for me just because I think the fan base is more accepting if I want to completely change something, and they may not be if it was a new guy that came in, but it is hard not to stagnate, and it's something that I spend a ton of time doing. I mean, I spend hours upon hours worrying about what I'm going to be doing in Invincible 180 and mapping out where the characters are going to be in Walking Dead 200. I mean, I really do have rough ideas on how the story is going to evolve, how it's going to remain interesting, like what those characters are going to be doing, how it's going to, you know, be vibrant and not stagnate and not be boring, because that is a trap. That's something that you can do. And, you know, if I get to a point where I'm like, yeah, that's it, I don't know what to do, I'll hire somebody else to do it, and, you know, whatever, I'll retire, and then I'll sit there as an old man going, that guy's screwing up my book. These creator-owned comics suck these days. I don't know.
Well, to get to the specific book, so at WonderCon last year, a year ago, you teased the Black Invincible. And fans have been wondering, when is that going to happen?
Like I say, long-term plans. Long-term plans.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's happening now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, you know, the fun thing about Invincible for me is that I'm playing with all of the superhero tropes that everybody's been doing over these, you know, decades and decades. I think it's a fun thing. I mean, you know, when issue 50 was coming about, I was like, you know what, I should just arbitrarily add in a new costume. And, you know, people will complain about that costume, and people will just be clamoring for the return of the new costume, and then when I bring it back, people will be like, hey, that old costume that sucked, when are we going to see that again? That'd be kind of cool, right? Yeah, and like that whole thing worked, and it's totally fun. And so like doing those kind of things and playing with those stories, but doing them in a different way, and, you know, shocking readers with, you know, they expect it to go a certain way, but doing a different thing with it is really the fun of Invincible. I'm writing Invincible for me, and I am a 33-year-old guy who's been reading comics since I was, you know, 10, who has read way more comics than I ever should, and, you know, wants to do something like kind of the same because that's the kind of stuff I love, but you know, tweaking it a little bit here and there and making it, you know, kind of interesting and stuff. And so that's what I do. I do stupid stuff. Every now and then somebody punches a planet. It's a lot of fun.
Well, I thought it was interesting that a year ago we got the tease of you know, that you're going to change Invincible's identity. It's going to be African American, that sort of thing. And then, like, seemed like months later, then all the Ultimate Spider-Man stuff happened, and it just I kind of scratched my head at that.
I will say I pick on Bendis a lot. You know, he's actually a nice guy, and I there's no way that had anything to do with what we did in Invincible. He's a super creative, smart guy. I'm being sincere. I'm being sincere. I'm glad that you got the order right, because that is kind of what happened. But you know, I'm sure that they had that look. Marvel works by committee, and I'm sure that committee plotted that story 2 years ago so that the bean counters could run it up the flagpole to talk to Satan. I think Satan is at the head of that corporation. I don't really know. To get all that approved and get all the paperwork filed so that they could eventually do that story, because that's how that stuff works. But no, I mean, he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing, and it's a great story. I think people are really liking that new Ultimate Spider-Man book. You know, I think he's going to fight Dr. Octopus soon.
Electro, I think.
Electro. God, Electro? That is going to be cool. How will that battle end, do you think?
I think he puts web on his fists and punches them because the webbing is non-conductive.
Oh, hey-o. But really, do you think Spider-Man will win?
I don't know. I got to tune in. So Super Dinosaur I want to touch on because I've been reading it. I've been enjoying it. I also give it to my nieces to read.
This is the snarkiest interview I think we've ever done.
It's pretty snarky. This is what happens when this is what happens when your publicist puts us in a private room and we're not on the con floor.
Don't reveal me to be the sellout that I have obviously become. You know, that's not cool, man. That's not cool. But yeah, usually it's all fun and stuff, and now it's just like
it's like serious
hatred.
Well, I should forward you.
You're just bitter.
I should forward you the email thread where I'm trying to explain what we do, and I'm like, well, we talk on the con floor, and it's you just it doesn't. Here, just watch this.
Let me save the commenters the trouble. I wish I was still working at Marvel Comics. I'm very, very bitter and angry. I'm not happy with where my life is, and it's all just jealousy.
Anyway, so Super Dinosaur. Yeah, I've been enjoying that you're printing drawings from kids are sending in. Like, is it finding that kid audience?
I think it is. Yeah. I mean, I think that mostly what it seems to be right now is it is people that are already going into the comic shop that are buying comics, that are buying it for their kids and giving it to their kids, and they seem to be enjoying it. And that's awesome because, you know, that's getting that generation interested in comics, and, you know, that's kind of what it's all about. I mean, that was another thing from that stupid manifesto that I did that people sometimes gloss over. It's like, because it was a rambling, incoherent piece of nonsense where I talked about like 100 things because I was tired.
Really close to the camera.
It wasn't that close.
It was pretty close.
I don't know. CBR edited it to that. Whatever. But no, I mean, you know, you gotta do something for that generation to try and get kids interested in comics, and I think it's working to a certain extent. I think that, you know, once we're in bookstores more and, you know, kids have, you know, better access to it, I think that hopefully we'll get some kids hooked on comics. I mean, that's really, you know, what Super Dinosaur is all about. Aside from Jason Howard and I having the time of our lives doing crazy stories about dinosaurs shooting missiles and, you know, fighting other dinosaurs that have axes and kids riding on robots and doing cool stuff. You know, it's about, you know, being dedicated to making a comic for the next generation so that I can sell them Walking Dead later.
Smart.
I am a money-hungry corporate whore. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Do you have Super Dinosaur plotted out to issue 100?
Yeah, of course.
Was the writing process different on that one?
Can I just be honest? I kind of do.
Is it written in crayon?
No, but no. I mean, there's all that. Look, I know what happens in issue 25. I know what happens in 50. I don't know. I like figuring out where things are going to go. I mean, that to me, like, people are like, oh, you know, have you changed? What's this success done for you? Like, how come you're so awesome? I get these questions.
Sure,
these are questions I get. One of the things that I am so thrilled about now that, you know, I have money, I don't know, is the fact that, like, I can do whatever I want. And if I want to do Super Dinosaur for 50 years I can, and being able to do that long-term planning and know that, you know, I can do that book if I want to. I don't care. I don't care if you buy it. I do not care. If you don't want to buy it, I'm doing it for an audience of 2, me and my son, and Jason's kids can read it if they want, but I don't give a shit, you know? So yeah, and like, you know, I don't know, being able to sit down and map that out and know that I'm going to be able to do that stuff is something that I've never had before, you know, and comics have given that to me, and like, that's why, you know, I can't thank fans enough for supporting my work. I can't thank retailers enough for supporting my work, because I get to sit in my room in front of a bunch of sheets of paper and decide what a dinosaur is going to be doing 3 years from now and feel like I'm actually going to be able to do it. And that's exciting to me. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I love doing it.
That's cool. So related to that, Thief of Thieves finally came out.
I don't know anything about that book. What do you want from me?
Well, that was announced a while ago, and that's interesting because you're working with Nick Spencer, and you're credited as Story, and he's doing the script. So
it's a weird credit. I didn't know what to do there. Well, I mean, it's all based on a big outline that I wrote for all the characters, and you know, it's kind of fun to be like, you know, this guy does this, and this happens, and you know, there are different scenes that I plotted out and stuff, and then but he came in and wrote the script, so like that's all Nick, you know, but it's all based on, you know, different scenarios and stuff. So. You know, I don't know. It's a fun working process. It's you know, it's much more like a writer's room approach. You know, being able to have this framework that I created, and then bring in different writers and go, you know, this is going to happen, that's going to happen, this is going to happen, go. And you know, having the back and forth of them going, that's dumb, let's do this. Why did you think of that? I'm glad you called me. This sucks. But, you know, doing that, it's a fun collaboration. And it comes from, you know, my experience on The Walking Dead. Being in the Walking Dead writer's room and going, oh, man, I never would have thought of that without that guy sitting right there. Like, that's totally awesome. And I don't know, it's a fun process.
That's cool. So,
it's a good book. People like it.
I really did enjoy it. I mean, like it was. I'm really liking. Like, I'm a big fan of Near Death, Thief of Thieves. Like, I like this return to like action. Like, you know, like, or kind of like I tweeted it actually. I said these are like a good cable channel.
It's cool, yeah. I mean, well, look, if you look at Image's lineup, just to gush on Image a little bit, I mean, you got things like Fatale coming out, you know, Near Death, Saga, which is just like a straight up science fiction like epic. It's a really cool place to be. It's a really cool, like, you know, I don't know. I mean, having the different genres and having them be successful is a big deal. I mean, knowing that the audience that reads comics is accepting to a huge degree of, you know, comics that aren't superhero comics is really exciting, and I think that it is the first step toward mainstream acceptance of the comic medium, which is really exciting to me. I mean, once people see the numbers on Saga, like, people are going to be like, what's going on? Like, it's a movement. I mean, it really is, and I think we
got TV shows on cable networks, and
it's crazy. So look out.
So now in terms of The Walking Dead, so the second part of the second season started off.
I have to talk about that show.
I know. But on the comic side, I was going to go to the comics. We recently just had a teaser.
Talk about the show. Let's talk about the show.
All right. Well,
but no, back in front of the comic book men poster. I love you, AMC. I love you, Kevin Smith.
So congratulations on getting the next season renewed. Like, every time, I feel like every time I see all the posts on the internet I see are Walking Dead breaks viewing record or is renewed for another season. Are you up to like season 8 now, or like what is it?
I mean, you know, it's like 12, whatever. It's bizarre. I mean, they just put out the international numbers, and like it was like 17 million people worldwide, like outside of the U.S. watched it. So I think that puts us at something like 30 million people watched the premiere of the second half of the second season, which is just stupid. I mean, that's ridiculous to me. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I mean, I can't gush enough on how, you know, how much work goes into that show, and how, you know, everyone from the cast to the crew to the producers to the writers are really just not paying attention to the success and just trying to do a cool show. You know, it's not like we sit around like, well, fuck, like, whatever, you know. You know, I don't care. You know, everyone works harder. Like, there's no, I don't know, like, it's inspiring to see all of these people come together and, you know, really work hard to produce this cool show.
Yeah. So the first part of the second season, there was some, you know, like the chatter on the internet, whatever, was that it was really slow and drawn out, but then it ended with that that last episode.
Yeah.
Like, were you guys aware that people are people gonna like? Did you anticipate that kind of reaction to the episodes or?
Yeah, I mean that's really like an examination on storytelling style.
Yeah.
Frank Darabont was still in charge of that half of the season, and you know he comes from the film world, and so his whole build reveal is kind of the way you do a movie to a certain extent. This is something that Glenn Mazzaro's talked about a lot in interviews, and so that was his style of doing things. And some people liked it, and some people didn't like it, and some people were kind of like, "I'm in episode 5. Like, what's going on? I get it. You're building.
She's
like, come
lost.
on. I don't even care about that girl. What is going on?" I mean, we see the comments, but I mean, we stand by it. I mean, I was in the writers' room for that stuff, so I liked it. It was cool, and her coming out of the barn wouldn't have had as much impact if we hadn't seen that. And also that group of episodes is really important to the last group of episodes because, we're kind of lulling you into a false sense of security on how things are going on that farm because it seems so safe. And anyone who's familiar with the comic knows that that's kind of what we do in the comic. It's like, you think nothing's going to happen. A bunch of stuff is happening. What's going on? And so it's cool to me to see a TV audience like, I don't know what's going on. Why is it like this? What's going on? But these new episodes coming out, 2 of which have already aired, I think people are seeing like now it's run and gun. It's just one event after the next, and it's going to continue like that into season 3 and actually heighten. I mean, I'm really excited working with Glenn Mazzaro because he comes from the S.H.I.E.L.D. sensibility. Like he was taught at the school of Sean Ryan of like just coming up with the best story you can possibly come up with, and then seeing how tight you can compact it into a number of episodes and force yourself to come up with something after that tops it. And so that's how we're doing the show now. It's really, we're working on the 3rd season, and we plotted all these episodes, and then we were like, yeah, but this could happen here, and this could happen there, and this could happen there. Okay, now we're here. Okay, we'll move that up, and it's a lot of fun, and I think people are really just going to be blown away with a lot of the stuff that we're doing.
Well, that was the comment from the first 2 episodes. Is like, whoa, there are a lot more zombies.
Yeah,
and so everyone kind of knows that. And you pulled a walk. Like I got all excited because the dude from Terriers was in an episode, and then you killed him.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, spoiler. But
that's cool, right?
I was like, oh, cool. I want him on the show, and then he died.
Yeah. We were like, here's a rug.
So now, but in the comic, you recently had a teaser campaign building up towards the 100th issue. Again, you even said it. People who read the comic know that you build this false sense of security, then crazy shit happens. What do you do to keep the comic fresh, and what can people expect with this? What's coming up that you've been teasing?
Well, I mean, we're in the middle of a larger world storyline right now, and that's all about the next evolution of The Walking Dead. I mean, this is entering into the kind of stories that we're going to be telling for the next 100 issues. The Walking Dead is what it is and has told the kind of stories that it's told, but now we're evolving in a really exciting way. I think, we've got Rick and his group who are living in a very safe community, and they've learned how to live in the world around them. We've seen Rick grow and evolve over time to the point where when he sees a zombie, he's not scared. And most of the people that are in that community are the same way. They know exactly how to manage that world. And so there's no conflict for them. And that story, if I held on for another 4 issues, would completely stagnate. And so, it's always been the plan, once I got the characters to that point, to start opening up the world and telling different stories. And so what they're encountering in the larger world storyline is other pockets of civilization that bring other benefits and other threats. And so as we move into these issues, you're going to see a lot of different kinds of stories being told, a lot of weird interaction, a lot of world building. It's really going to be, the story up to this point has been all about people surviving after the fall of civilization. And now that they've done that, the story is going to be evolving into, I'm just going to say evolving like 100 times. Just
Evolve or die.
over that thing.
Wasn't it Spider-Man dark?
And the characters are going to intelligently design themselves into, I don't get any props on the intelligent design joke, but they're going to be intelligently designing themselves to a different, I totally lost track, but they're going to be encountering new, damn it, I was going to say something important, evolving. Damn it! This is happening on camera. Crap. There's all kinds of cool stuff coming up.
It's going to be awesome, isn't it?
I don't know. No. They're rebuilding civilization. That's what they're doing. Now you're actually going to see characters in an end-of-the-world storyline actively working to reestablish civilization over a long period of time. So they're going to be encountering other networks of people with other supply channels and other, talents and abilities, and, maybe they're going to fix the world. I mean, that's kind of where we're going. Cool. And then that leads right into the new storyline that we teased, Something to Fear, where that all gets fucked up. And guys have chainsaws and crossbows and baseball bats and hatchets, and it's going to be pretty terrifying.
All right, and so...
and that gets us right up to issue 100, which is going to be, pretty ridiculous, I think.
Did the aliens come back in issue 100? Or? Yeah,
they come back. They do. They do.
So the other thing, Walking Dead was in the news a little bit, and I got to ask you about it. I know you probably can't talk that much about it, but the Tony Moore lawsuit came up,
sure.
And do you have anything to comment about that? Or
well, look, I mean, it's an unfortunate thing. I wish it hadn't gotten to that point, but it is what it is. I mean, it's out there. But, I can't really comment on any substance, but I will say that, hopefully it'll be all over soon, and, the two sides will be, happy about the outcome. So we'll see.
That's fair. So what are you most excited for at the show this weekend?
I don't know. Hanging out with Branke Vaughn. I'm going to check some booths to see if they're selling some Transformers, because I'm a huge Transformers fan, and I've been buying toys like it's going out.
Classic or current?
Whatever looks cool. I don't know. I'm getting these Masterpiece ones. I got the Masterpiece Hot Rod, and I bought a Masterpiece Megatron where the trigger is kind of his penis, which is pretty awesome. But I'm just saying. So yeah, I'll be getting some stuff. But I tell you,
you know what? The Walking Dead money's getting spent well, isn't it? Transformers.
I buy Muscle Men too. I've told this story a few times, so I apologize to the iFanboy people if I've actually done this in an interview, but I was at a dinner with Frank Darabont and the president of AMC, and they were talking about their car collections, and they were like, oh, I've got a Maserati. I don't know what cars. I have no idea. I don't even know if Maserati is really a car. But they were talking about their car collection, and I was just sitting there twiddling my thumbs, I don't know what to say. And the guy looks over at me and he goes, So what have you bought? Have you bought anything crazy? You buying anything? How are you doing? Everything okay? And I was like, I bought a bunch of Garbage Pail Kids on eBay the other day. I don't know. And he was like, what are Garbage Pail Kids? And I was like, shut up, Robert. Shut up. Just shut up.
Stop talking.
So yeah.
Well, that's good. Excellent. Well, Muscle Men, are those little wrestler dudes?
Are those little wrestler dudes?
Muscle, wasn't it?
You don't know what the hell a Muscle Man is?
What is a Muscle Man?
What the
shit?
shit?
You remember Muscle, the wrestler?
Yes, the little men that came in a garbage can. And the first ones were pink, and then they came in different colors later.
I got the wrestling ring.
Jim was a knockoff of that for girls. And what is wrong with you? You don't know this stuff? Michael Jackson trading cards, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Alf?
I remember Alf.
Shit, man, how old are you?
I'm older than you, which is sad. I sit at home on my website writing about you, and I'm like, I'm older than him.
Look, I'm burning the candle at both ends. I will die very soon, and you will feel fine. Do not worry.
Does that complete the Bobby Hollywood story arc? There's going to be some Hollywood Fatty Arbuckle kind of scandal.
It will end with my body in a gutter being urinated on. Do not worry. Do not worry, Marvel Comics. It's gonna go to hell. But yeah, no, Image Expo. Let's be serious for a minute. You really don't know what Muscle Men are?
I do. I said the little wrestler guys.
Yeah, but you had to ask. Why would you do that?
Well, I referred to them as Muscle, not Muscle Men. Muscle Men sounds a little,
Now I'm wondering if I have it wrong.
I think it's just Muscle. It's an acronym, right? Joe's nodding. Yeah, so.
But they're men. They're
men. Well, I don't know. They're toys.
One guy
was riveting.
One guy was a toilet. Remember that? Okay, so I'm super excited mainly about the announcements. People don't know what's coming, and after this weekend, they're going to know a little bit, and it's going to be awesome. So I'm very excited about that kind of stuff. I don't know when this is going to go up.
It's going up after the show, so we can talk about.
We can talk about fucking Grant Morrison doing a comic book at Image.
How did that happen?
And Nick Spencer launching a new series, and Steve Niles and Tony Harris doing a book together, and Steve Niles and Scott Morse doing a book together, and all of the other books by the people who are going to be angry that I forgot to mention them.
More Phonogram?
More Phonogram, yes. I mean, top-notch shit, you know, and adding that to Jupiter's Children and Saga and Fatale and Thief of Thieves, I guess. I'm going to add that in there. And, you know, Manhattan Projects and Secret, the Jonathan Hickman projects. You know, I think that Image's 20th anniversary clearly is about celebrating everything that this company has done over 20 years, but more importantly, celebrating, you know, what it's done in I'm trying to get a thing out.
To evolve.
No. Stop it. You're ruining this for me. They're continuing to do what they've been doing for 20 years in an awesome way. They're being a home for creator-owned talent. They're being a place that nurtures new ideas, strange ideas, aliens breastfeeding on the front of a comic. You don't get that from anywhere else. What do you want from us? But, you know, and I think that people are really, you know, coming in droves, and the company is that much better for it. I think that, you know, the way we've survived for 20 years is by continually having new blood come into the company. I mean, we wouldn't be here without Dale Keown and Sam Keith coming in, and then all those other people and guys like David Mack and Brian Bendis coming in and you know, keeping this company vibrant and alive. Things like Red Star, things like Violent Messiahs. I know I'm forgetting an entire generation of Image stuff, but you know, it's all about the new. That's what we're all about. And so in our 20th anniversary, not going, hey, remember Spider-Man in the 60s? What up? You know, going, yeah, 20th anniversary, here's what's going to keep us vibrant for the next 20 years. I mean, that's what this company is about, and that's what makes Image better than everyone else. And I don't just mean comic book companies. I mean better than, like, people. I don't know. Whatever. We're the best.
Well, thank you as always for your time. I'm sure, you know, a little more subdued.
So this is like the meanest, like, nastiest.
See, this is the lesson we learn when we're not on the con floor. You let it fly.
It's all spite.
It's all spite. Well, I also like just a little internal commentary. There's the difference between when we talk to you at the beginning of the show, like we're talking before the con has started, versus the last day of the show when you're wiped and you're like, come on, let's just do this. Like,
should we do another one on Sunday?
We might have to. Yeah. Just,
I don't think the rainbow montage is going to be a good opening for this one, but maybe not.
Sometimes I just watch that just that. It just makes me laugh.
Should update those photos.
I know, that's one of the reasons.
I'm totally fatter. So
I think you're shorter too in them.
Am I shorter?
Right. Well, thank you, Robert. As always, a pleasure. Congratulations.
I wish I could say the same.
He's not joking. He doesn't like me.
No, you get me in these interviews. You trick me into like saying things I say in private. These are things I say in private. What are you doing to me? This is going to be awful.
The good thing is nobody watches these, so it's okay.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, right?
I thought this said E. What is the iFanboy? What is this crap?